I think you're confusing boredom for stagnation because the rate at which you've been growing for I'm hearing in like the past year has been really substantial and kind of, I guess, more than you would anticipate. You've just been growing really fast. And so what you might be feeling right now as boredom or stagnation is not, I mean, it's not a bad thing, right? Like boredom can indicate safety. Boredom can indicate, a level of success in whatever kind of foundational work you've been doing in your life, whether that's your relationship or your home, right? It's like you've reached a level of completion somewhere. And what's interesting is this collective doesn't, like, the energy doesn't feel particularly like dramatic or intense. It feels like you might be neglecting like basic like day-to-day things and maybe judging yourself because of that, but it's like a cognitive dissonance thing. It's like, I know that I should be doing, what is mundane, but I'm not. Or it could be, I feel like I need to push myself, but I don't know in what direction. We're going to get guidance. I want to kind of show you the cards here. So I have productivity, purification, inspiration, leadership in reverse, which speaks to like overwhelm and maybe a need to like kind of set something back or like set something down, right? And we have starting over. I'll get into the tarot. Like I have tarot cards here, but I'm going to get into guidance and maybe incoming energy. Hang on. I didn't really expect this kind of guidance because it's a little bit more intense than like the energy itself. Queen of Swords, Seven of Swords, Judgment, the Empress, Queen of Cups, the World, and we have Nine of Wands at the bottom. So there's something here about like maybe not being totally forthcoming as a means of self-preservation about whatever it is that you want to do next. So I guess it's like moving in silence is a good thing here. But also because whatever I'm hearing, like half-baked, like whatever it is that you want to create for yourself or do is like, it's not quite time yet. King of Cups kind of like flopping out here. It's not quite the time for that yet. The Three of Pentacles here, the Hierophant at the bottom. Yeah, no, whatever it is that you're manifesting, I mean, I would focus on the process of manifesting, right? Like I would focus on energy over action, vision over action. Wheel of Fortune reversed in the Four of Cups, but there's a defeatist mentality here that is really unbecoming. Like it really is. And I filmed a collective reading yesterday about, I don't know, like, I don't really like my collective, I like when my collective readings are like more specific, but it really just kind of boiled down to like, are you being nice to yourself? And like, can we be more nice to ourselves here? And I almost feel like there's some of that in this because this defeatist mentality is saying like, or like the way that it's coming through here is like, well, what's the point? Where can I go? I don't like, it's like you can't see any signposts. So you're just kind of like popping a squat. But like the direction, like it's like the path is forward, the path is straight. You just kind of keep walking. But because you haven't seen any signposts for a while, or maybe you're not seeing one right now, it's like, I don't know is this worth it? Six of Wands just kind of plopped out here. Eight of Cups at the bottom of the deck. I want to be known for something. I want to be seen for something. Maybe I'm not proud of the work that I'm doing, or I'm, maybe there's a level of like rumination over the work that you're doing and feeling like it's not enough. Maybe we're questioning our authenticity. That's something that's coming through here. Is this really what I want? Is this really the right move? Is this the path that I'm supposed to be on? So some of you guys might even be questioning, depending on how this is showing up for you, some of you guys might be questioning like even just your life path. What is my purpose, right? This could be kind of existential depending on how it's impacting you. Let's get incoming energy. Hang on. I think there's someone else here and there's a message about not treating this person like a burden. So for some of you, it could be that you're in a relationship or you have kids or like work is constantly getting in the way. 444 on the timer. It's like, I'm seeing like, you just sat down to study something that you just recently picked up, like you signed up for some kind of master class or whatever. And it's like, I'm going to put my all into this, right? and then you get a call and it's like, hey, your kid got in trouble. And it's like, I just sat down. I was just about to be productive in a direction that works for me. You know what I mean? So like, however, and you know, it could be you're getting called into work, or your boyfriend or girlfriend needs you. You know what I mean? Like, I think that treating that situation like a burden, the devil and the 10 of wands, you're always getting in my way because you're messy and impulsive, not super supportive here. Part of this message about like keep on trucking and like the foundational energy that you've built, it's like asking for maintenance. And that is something that, I mean, yeah, like that it requires tending to. I do see a shift coming in like how that other situation is, I guess, acting or behaving in your life. But you do have to, like, a part of this message is that you do have to like sit and watch as it unfolds into something that is more beneficial for you, right? So I you know, I hate to say it, right? Again, I gave a message yesterday that I didn't really love giving because it just kind of came down to like, hey, can you like be nicer to yourself, right? But High Priestess just came out. I think that you're aware of like you're self-aware enough to know that like some of the things that are agitating you or maybe agitating you or frustrating you or kind of creating this defeatist mentality, you're self-aware enough to know that those things are kind of a projection of your own like sense of inadequacy or like perceived inadequacy, right? Like this feeling that you need to grow, or the pursuit of something, you know, greater, the pursuit of something beyond what you have currently achieved, coming from a more like, the word that I'm getting is sullen, which is really interesting. I do have like 5 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So, you know, you know that it's coming from a perceived sense of inadequacy. You also know, like, keyword perceived, that that's an illusion, right? My ear is ringing now. And I think that, you know, there's something about this situation that I just want to kind of reiterate, treating it like a burden, not in your best interest, right? Because part of this reading has to do with like the way in which you might isolate yourself because of this desire for growth. I think a desire for growth can sometimes translate into like dramatic action, not required here. And so like if that sense of inadequacy is growing and growing and growing, and you're kind of becoming impatient or impulsive and then projecting that onto the people around you, that's isolating. You're isolating yourself, and that's not what we want here, right? So incoming energy is, you know, there is a shift, but you do have to wait for it. There is a shift, particularly in the people around you that might be, I don't know, justice here. You know, if you're looking at this person and saying like, yeah, Justice, 2 of Cups, Ace of Cups, if you're looking at this person and saying like, you're holding me back, right? The shift that needs to come so that your mentality is like in a different direction, it requires patience. Hang on, I'm gonna get one more thing. It's funny because I almost started this reading out with a message about setting an example and how important that is. And if you're in my live stream, you know, like I've talked about how setting an example is a responsibility that we take upon ourselves. And my 2 favorite cards came out in the Woodland Wardens, Graceful Persistence and Modest Fortitude. We also have Creative Ingenuity and Communication. Setting an example by the energy that you're putting out, you can feel, like I did say something about like kind of moving in silence, you can feel a certain type of way about whatever is going on in your life, or however you're feeling internally about yourself, whatever. You do not need to project that outward. Projecting that outward is a choice. Graceful Persistence and Modest Fortitude ask us to persist on the path and focus on the process as opposed to the outcome, right? It's a process-oriented, very feminine, Empress at the bottom of the deck, very feminine way to approach our relationships, our life, the care and keeping, right, of our space. And that is like Queen energy, understanding decorum and the keeping of cultural norms, right? So I'm curious how this applies to your life and where we might kind of afford some softness and some patience, right?